March 9 is when the negotiating window opens for free agents. It's an important day as it relates to something that most of us have forgotten about, me included. And it was a big deal a couple of summers ago. I purchased and I read a 3,000-page transcript from the Sunday ticket trial that went all the way to a verdict that found the NFL's current structure for Sunday ticket, where you've got to buy all the games for the whole season. They market it as, hey, this is your way, if you are a Saints fan living in Pittsburgh, to see all the out-of-market games. Well, you got to buy all the out-of-market games, not just the ones you want, not just on the weekends you want. You got to buy the whole thing or none of it. Now, from time to time, they'll have an offer like near the end of the season. They offered the last week for $4.99 or something like that. But the typical approach is you got to buy it all. And what happened in the summer of 2024, the jury found, number one, that the NFL's Sunday ticket package is an antitrust violation. You have 32 businesses coming together, and they are engaging in an antitrust violation by forcing people through one provider to buy all of the out-of-market games or none of them. The jury also delivered a verdict in excess of $4 billion. It would have been trebled if it had been upheld. That's where the judge said, the damages formula presented by the plaintiffs doesn't make sense. I'm throwing out the verdict. But the finding of an antitrust violation did not die. March 9 is when the appeal of the judge's decision goes to the U.S. Court of Appeals for the Ninth Circuit. That's the circuit court that covers California and other states. And we'll find out whether or not that verdict gets reinstated, whether or not the NFL has a $14 billion problem on its hands. Now, it would appeal to the U.S. Supreme Court, and it would, before that, appeal to the full Court of Appeals in the Ninth Circuit or petition for rehearing. There's other boxes you have to check before it's time to go to the U.S. Supreme Court. But a point to keep in mind, and I'm mentioning this because, number one, John Oran wrote about it 5-6 weeks ago, and I've been meaning, maybe not that long, maybe 3 or 4, I don't know. The past month is just, I think it was 4 weeks ago, but what the hell? The past month is just a complete blur. It's a slow motion blur, if that makes any sense. Sports Business Journal has something about it, and SBJ pointed out a very important thing as it relates to appellate practice in the federal courts, and I've lived this before. There are, I don't know how many judges on the Ninth Circuit, more than 20, more than 30. I'd have to look it up, but there's more than 3. When you show up for the oral argument on this appeal that's already been fully briefed, all the documents are submitted, it's ready to go, all we have to have is the oral argument. That day, you find out who the judges are. And you may get lucky with the draw, you may get unlucky. And all it takes is 2 to 1. You get that one judge who swings one way or the other with reasoning, political background, overall philosophy on how the law should be applied, and trust me, I was naive at one point. I thought the law was very formulaic. It's not. There's a lot of play in the joints. There's a lot of discretion that can be exercised. They're going to find out that morning, and everyone else will find out based on who the judges are. It'll be important to see what president put them on the bench, look at some of their past rulings, especially in antitrust cases. I know some people get triggered when I say this, but it's 100% accurate. Judges who are appointed to the federal bench by Republican presidents tend to be pro-business. Judges who are appointed to the federal bench by Democratic presidents tend to be pro-individual. It's just a reality. There are exceptions, but that's typically how it goes. And over time, those judges develop a body of case law where they've resolved this dispute, this dispute, this dispute, and the opinions that are written to explain how they got through the maze from the facts to the conclusion. That same reasoning keeps coming up in other cases. So we have a pattern, we have an understanding of how these judges think. The NFL and the plaintiffs in the Sunday ticket case will find out on Monday, March 9, not long before it's time to stand up and argue the case who those judges are. And that's going to be a huge factor. And here's why the case is important. Even without any damages, there's already a finding by a jury that this model violates the federal antitrust laws. I'm surprised, and maybe there has been, I don't know, another lawsuit hasn't already been filed to cover the time period that isn't encompassed by the current one, because this thing continues to be sold as one single unit. You got to buy it all. It's your only way. You can't pick and choose. You're forced by this collective of 32 businesses that is coming together and saying, here's how, and this is the only way you can consume this product out of market. They're still vulnerable. And in the interim, they're still making a ton of money off of Sunday Ticket. And I see the parallels between this and gambling. In gambling, a reckoning may come at some point. Until then, let's make as much money as we can. Sunday Ticket, a reckoning may come at some point down the line. Until then, let's make as much money as we can. But the best outcome for consumers would be to be able to say, and I got Sunday Ticket in 1997. I got it so I could watch Vikings games. I used to check the TV guide when I was standing in line at the grocery store to see if the Vikings game was going to be on that weekend on one of the local providers, Fox or CBS. Once you get Sunday Ticket, the whole world opens up. Oh, I got to pay whatever the number was at the time. I only want the Vikings game. I don't care about the other games. I only want to watch the Vikings games. I mean, I guess I'll watch some of the other ones. Maybe the Vikings are on a bye week or it's a late afternoon game, but I'm only doing this because I want these. And that's how they market it. I already said that. That's how they market it. It'd be nice if we could just do that. It'd be nice if we could say, hey, this is a good weekend to watch all the games. There's 6 or 7 really good games here. Let's watch them. Another week, you know what? We got some stuff going on and kids got basketball practice and let's not do it this weekend. That's the kind of freedom we should have. And there was one model that was articulated during the trial where Sundays for the NFL would be like Saturdays for college football, where you've got your free over-the-air game available in your local market. If you're in Pittsburgh, the Steelers game is on. Free. On one of the 3-letter networks, CBS or Fox. But then you click over to FS1. Oh, there's Patriots Ravens. Then you go to another cable channel. Oh, there's Packers Rams. And all those games are sold to the various networks, and then they're available on different platforms, and you can watch whatever you want to watch, just like you can watch a bunch of different college games on any given Saturday. That would be the best possible outcome. Then you don't have to pay anything more than what you're already paying. You've already got the channels. Just watch the games. So from the moment they created Sunday Ticket, it was an antitrust violation, and they've had it in place for 32 years, and they haven't had to change it yet. The reckoning possibly is coming. March 9, we will find out a lot more about where this thing stands. Hi, it's Mike Florio. Thanks for watching PFT on YouTube. Hit subscribe for the latest news and analysis from Pro Football Talk.